Peace, what's up? This is Jarrell with Quantum Light Consciousness. This is a brief little conscious review of Game of Thrones and the multidimensional aspects that they put on the show. Um, I just want to clarify on what the show is telling you. They're not going to tell you. I don't even know if the actors know what they're acting out. Um, so let's get into it. So basically, the entire show is based off a alternate reality from a parallel timeline. Yes, in our timeline, in our past lives, we had magic, we had all this stuff. You know, we had elves, we had priestesses, we had priests, we had fire magic, earth magic, weather magic, all that. Um, and they do zombies, and they get into the dark magic as well. I'm not sure if George R. R. Martin, got the ideas, or if he was briefed on the ideas, or if, it was kind of just like streamlined to him in a dream sequence or something. But what he's playing out and what he's written about in books, um, it's based off a real parallel timeline, guys. Um, Now, of course, if you're awakening, you know that the Earth kind of basically has a malevolent force, and that malevolent force is kind of, more all parasitic, and it's just this show is based off the dark ages of that parasite timeline, and that's it. It's the parasitic timeline, the dark ages where the game is all about fear, and that's what they push in the commercials, in the trailers. They're just trying to survive, and get their comeuppance and whatnot. So it's an awesome show. I love the show, but it's so huge. I just had a huge, just realization of what they're doing with the show. I don't even know if they know what they're doing, or if they're just taking orders from whoever. I don't know, like, if they know the type of perceptions that they're throwing in, and how, like, vast, their depiction of the character roles and timelines that they're portraying on the screen. So, one of the things that it's kind of just like they have created an entire realm, a timeline. It's like an entire, like, mini universe, like an Earth realm, but way, way, way in the past. And they've done that to just throw you in a story based off fantasy and based off of the most carnal, human, lower emotions, lower desires, the lower three chakras. And that's, there's a lot of parallels to, how the world is today. And that's why a lot of people like it, because it's real raw, it's in your face. And, besides, the rawness of the show, there's a lot more that goes into it on a multidimensional level. When they started doing this, it was just last season, season 6, where the character Bran was basically changing the reality as he was going through a cave to save his life. And that's how it's just like they're in a realm, but they're in a dream realm at the same time. Because the dude Bran, the kid Bran, he's able to change his reality when he's on there. When he taps in and he gets into his own consciousness, which is the dream state, the dream realm that he's in. And if you saw the episode, the parasitic sickness is like coming for them, and they're evading it. And in order for him to evade it, he had to change his reality because he wasn't gonna make it. So he had to leave his body and kind of just do a 360, as he was evading it, and then he had to change the outcomes of what was going to happen so he could evade it in time, if that makes any sense. So as he was evading danger, he was shifting moves in front of him like a chess player as he's on the board. And simultaneously, as he was doing that, he was viewing himself from outside of himself. So he was able to take a piece on the board and move it while still on the board himself, but from a higher perspective. So that was number one. Number two is just seeing, the fear that they put in all people um, who are characters on the show about, darkness coming, sickness coming, which is the White Walkers. And it's just a whole lot of bases off of that parallel timeline of control, money, power, which is also the same sickness. It's just, it's just negative ego just going rampant. Kind of like the world today, but, it's just medieval. Um, so that's huge, just seeing that last season, that really just opened my eyes, because, I don't know, they just really took it to the next level. I kind of was losing interest in it around season 5. It was just seeing repetitive. They upped up the gore, which is ridiculous. Like, you've seen so many people get stabbed, but then it's just more stabbings and more beheadings, more impalings. It's just, like, how long are they going to keep doing that? But since they added that in, it puts a whole lot more onto the show. And the last thing that I wanted to speak about on the show is intro. You don't realize that the entire show is based off a macro perspective. It's based off the perspective of the sun. It starts, you're looking at the sun, and the sun is revolving like the great wheel. The wheel of karma, the wheel of incarnation, which is also an aspect of the toroidal field, which is also a creator consciousness. So basically, you're seeing the show from a huge perspective. You're seeing the show from a God consciousness. You're seeing the show from a creator consciousness based off of the creator game, based off of the game of evolution. So when you watch the show, just realize that, I'm not sure if you've linked into like the storyline of Earth and, the Anunnaki gods who, had their hands in genetic manipulation and the gold harvesting and the soul harvesting and the money, black magic, financial slavery that's still in play today. So they still have the game. They still have their hands in the game today. So yeah, that's all based off of that's all based off the lower triad. The lower 3 chakra desires. Even though the fallen gods, the negative gods of the lower G, they have the control over the planet. They still have their lower desires and they still want to control a population. However, they're able to incarnate as lower beings, as themselves, and implement their hands in the game. So that's what I've seen. When I watch Game of Thrones, when I see the intro, I'll never look at it the same again, because from the perspective of higher energy, from God, from source, from a God, whether it's a light being or if it's a dark being, they're both gods because we're in duality. Either way, you look at it and you see that the characters are in a dream, and you're looking at the perspective of a creator being, and it's kind of just like, it's mind-blowing, because you never think that, Game of Thrones is about, the mixture of all the fantasy lore and the pagan gods and the Norse gods and all that stuff is awesome because we all have lineage and that ancestry. However, there's a lot of reality to that, especially if you go into your own consciousness and you're able to actually see the universe from a macro perspective. And then you look back, into 3D and you see that they're portraying it right on screen for the masses across the entire population of the earth. and nobody sees it. I'm just here to tell you guys that that's what they're doing, you know? They're showing you how the game of genetics and the game of evolution is played through a portrayal of a fictional TV show, which actually isn't fictional. It's actually realistic, very realistic, based off a parallel timeline of a, parasitic force that is actually coming to an end on this planet. So I hope you enjoy this little audio. I couldn't resist. I actually had to make this quick audio for you guys. I'm not sure if you listen to, the storyline on the planet, or you're aware of what's going on. But if you're on this channel, that's what it's going to be like. It's for the people who are tuned in and know their history, and don't follow the traditional story of what you're told is true, and you go and research and you find out the truth for yourself. So wishing you a lot of love, a lot of blessings, and hope you have a great day.